The chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Poe, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for being here. Just so it's clear, I'm one of the numerous members of the Judiciary Committee that have asked for a second special prosecutor based on what Mr. Jordan earlier said. The Justice Department is responsible for investigating criminal conduct. Would that include criminal conduct by the NSA?
Yes.
Okay. We all learned under the prison that was happening years ago by the NSA that the NSA was doing, in my opinion, unconstitutional surveillance on Americans and their emails by tracking it and hacking in to see those emails. Came to light under Snowden, after Snowden, who I care nothing for, brought that to America's attention. The NSA said, we're not going to do that anymore, which I think is appropriate because I thought it was unconstitutional. And we've heard reports through the media that there has been unmasking of information. What I mean by that is classified information is seized on somebody, and someone else, an American, that their name is caught up in the communication, and if someone leaks who that was, unmask that individual, my understanding is if it's classified information, whoever does that unmasking has committed a felony. Is that correct?
The only distinction I would make, Congressman, is the unmasking typically is something done in the course of the intelligence analysis. The leaking would be a violation.
That's what I'm talking about, the leaking of that information. And as of today, has anybody been indicted under PRISM? Has anybody been indicted under leaking information on unmasking up until today? Has the Justice Department indicted anybody under those two scenarios and events?
We have indicted, prosecuted people for leaking. I'm not certain whether, I don't believe any of them related to unmasking.
So no one's been indicted, to your knowledge, which I want to bring up now the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act that has been discussed by this committee numerous times. It's the law that allows secret courts to issue secret warrants to try to go get terrorists that are operating overseas and get their information. Does the Justice Department present those FISA warrants to a FISA judge?
In situations where a warrant is required, yes, it needs to be obtained from a federal judge.
That's right, but the Justice Department is responsible for that, is that correct?
That's correct.
Also under FISA, once again, Americans are brought into the scenario because you target a foreign terrorist and then you go after their emails and then you find emails of Americans, and those are inadvertently caught in the surveillance of the target. According to the Washington Post recently, 90% of those inadvertent emails are on Americans. And my question to you is, why hasn't the Justice Department, the FBI, the intelligence community presented to Congress and our request that took place years ago, how many of those inadvertent emails, communications, text messages, conversations have been on Americans? We have been asked for the number. Do you know why that has not been brought to our attention? And let me just follow up with this reason. Here's the reason we need it. We're getting ready to maybe reauthorize 702, which I have a lot of problems with. I think it's unconstitutional in many other ways. But beside the point, here we are at a deadline getting ready to reauthorize it, and still the intelligence community refuses to tell us how many Americans' information has been seized. Can you tell us why we haven't gotten that information that we've asked for years?
No, I testified at a hearing with Director Coates, who I think would be a more appropriate person to answer that because he has access to the data and he has explained it. But I would simply point out that you use the term inadvertent. If the term that we use is incidental. If you're
Incidental, I don't mind the problem, the name of the
my
change.
point is simply if you're investigating a foreign terrorist, knowing with whom that person is communicating may be relevant to your investigation. And so it's not.
That's not my question. My question was, we're getting ready to maybe reauthorize 702. I don't think we ought to reauthorize it until we find out from the intelligence community where there are no indictments that have been issued against the intelligence community based upon the statements that you have made to see whether or not they're violating the law, and they refuse to give this committee the information about how many people have been caught up in that. And it's been stonewalled by the intelligence community saying, well, we just can't do it. Why can't the intelligence community get some geek over at Best Buy and have them come in and answer that question with a few little taps into the big computer system? We just want the number.
The time of the gentleman has expired. The witness may answer the question.
As I explained, Congressman, I've heard Director Coates explain this, and he's better positioned than I.
So we don't know. Still don't know.